Crash Course on Australian Society, an overview of Australian society, including social norms, customs, and beliefs. Certainly, let's start with an overview of Australian society. Australia is a multicultural society with a population of approximately 25 million people. The majority of Australians are of European descent, with Indigenous Australians being the largest minority group. Other significant minority groups include Asian, Middle Eastern, and African immigrants. Australian society is generally considered to be relaxed and informal, with a strong emphasis on egalitarianism and a fair go for all. This is reflected in many aspects of Australian culture, including the country's political and legal systems, which are based on the principles of democracy, freedom, and equality. Australians value hard work, but also place a high emphasis on work-life balance, and leisure time is considered important. Australians tend to be quite outgoing and sociable, with a love of outdoor activities such as camping, hiking, and barbecues. One of the defining features of Australian society is the larrikin culture. A larrikin is someone who is cheeky, irreverent, and rebellious. The term is often used affectionately to describe someone who likes to have a bit of fun and not take themselves too seriously. However, there is also a darker side to larrikinism, which can manifest in anti-authoritarianism, hooliganism, and disrespect for the law. In terms of religion, Christianity is the dominant faith in Australia, with Roman Catholicism being the largest denomination. However, Australia is a secular society, and freedom of religion is enshrined in the country's constitution. There is also a growing number of Australians who identify as having no religion. Now, let's move on to the top 12 interesting Australian social norms, customs, and beliefs. 1. The fair go. Australians believe in giving everyone a fair chance, regardless of their background or circumstances. 2. Beach culture. Australians love the beach, and spending time there is a cherished pastime. 3. Tall poppy syndrome. Australians tend to be suspicious of people who are too successful or wealthy and have a tendency to cut down anyone who they perceive as being too big for their boots. 4. Informality. Australians are generally quite informal in their speech and behaviour, and the use of titles and formal language is not common. 5. Barbecues. Barbecuing is a national pastime in Australia, and many Australians take great pride in their barbecue skills. 6. Sporting culture. Australians are passionate about sport, and it is an important part of Australian culture. 7. Outdoor lifestyle. Australians love spending time outdoors and engaging in outdoor activities. 8. Mateship. Australians place a high value on friendship and loyalty, and the concept of mateship is an important part of Australian culture. 9. Convict heritage. Australia was initially settled as a penal colony, and the country's early history as a place of punishment and exile continues to influence Australian culture and identity. 10. Anzac Day. Anzac Day is a national day of remembrance for Australians and New Zealanders who have served and died in all wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations. 11. Multiculturalism. Australia is a diverse society, and multiculturalism is celebrated as a strength of Australian society. 12. The Outback. The vast, remote interior of Australia known as the Outback has a special place in the Australian psyche and is often romanticised in Australian culture. To summarise, Australian society is a multicultural and egalitarian society that values hard work, leisure time, and outdoor activities. The larrikin culture, which is defined by a sense of irreverence and rebellion, is a defining feature of Australian society. Australian social norms and customs include the fair go, beach culture, tall poppy syndrome, informality, barbecues, sporting culture, outdoor lifestyle, mateship, convict heritage, Anzac Day, multiculturalism, and the Outback. Let's explore some interesting stories and examples that illustrate these social norms, customs, and beliefs. One story that highlights the fair go ethos of Australian society is the story of Cathy Freeman, an Indigenous Australian athlete who won gold in the 400 metres at the Sydney Olympics in 2000. The moment when she lit the Olympic flame during the opening ceremony is etched in the memory of many Australians. Her success was not only celebrated for her outstanding athletic achievement but also as a symbol of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. Another example of Australian culture is the country's love of barbecues. In Australia, it is not uncommon for people to have a barbie in their backyard, at a park, or at the beach. It is a social event where people gather to cook, eat, and drink, usually accompanied by a few beers. A good barbecue is often seen as a sign of hospitality, and Australians take great pride in their ability to cook a perfect steak. Australia's sporting culture is well known around the world. Australians are passionate about a wide range of sports, including cricket, rugby, football, and surfing. Many of Australia's most famous athletes, such as Cathy Freeman, Dawn Fraser, and Ian Thorpe, have become national heroes and cultural icons. The concept of mateship is deeply ingrained in Australian culture. The term is used to describe a close, loyal friendship between two people, often characterized by a willingness to help each other out in times of need. An example of mateship can be seen in the story of Simpson and his donkey during the Gallipoli campaign in World War I. John Simpson Kirkpatrick was an Australian soldier who used a donkey to carry wounded soldiers to safety. He and his donkey became a symbol of selflessness and bravery, and their story is still remembered today. Anzac Day is one of the most important days on the Australian calendar. It is a national day of remembrance for Australians and New Zealanders who have served and died in all wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations. On Anzac Day, Australians attend dawn services, marches, and commemorative ceremonies to pay their respects to those who have served and sacrificed for their country. Finally, the Outback is an important part of Australian culture and identity. It is a vast, remote area that covers most of the country's interior, and it is home to some of Australia's most iconic landmarks, such as Uluru and the Great Barrier Reef. The Outback is often romanticised in Australian culture, with its rugged landscapes, unique flora and fauna, and the stoic resilience of the people who live there. In conclusion, Australian society is a unique and vibrant multicultural society that values hard work, leisure time, and outdoor activities. The country's social norms, customs, and beliefs are reflected in its larrikin culture, love of barbecues, sporting culture, mateship, convict heritage, Anzac Day, multiculturalism, and the Outback. These features are what make Australia such a fascinating and exciting place to visit and live. And now, as requested, here's a poem about Australian society. Australia, the land of the fair go, where everyone gets a chance to glow. A multicultural melting pot. A place where differences are sought. From beach to outback, we love to roam. And sport is more than just a game in our home. Our barbecues sizzle, and our mates are true. Loyalty and friendship is what we value. Our larrikin spirit keeps us cheeky and bold. But with Anzac Day, we honour the brave and the old. We remember their sacrifice and service. And honour their memory with every purpose. The Outback is vast, rugged, and wild. A place of ancient culture and style. With unique flora and fauna to behold. And resilience that never grows old. So come and visit this land down under, where the sun shines bright and the air is a wonder. Experience the culture and all its charms. And fall in love with Australia's warmth. *****, we hope this video has given you a taste of all the incredible experiences Australia has to offer. If you're ready to start planning your own adventure to Australia, please ensure to use our booking.com referral link, https://www.booking.com/index.html?8 =7989335 to book your flights, hotels, car rentals, local attractions, and more. It's an easy and kind way to support this channel and make sure you get the best possible deals on your trip. Thank you. Anhub Metaverse Team.